Immigrants have rights.
Meanwhile,
I'm a big badass motherfucker. Do something. Hey, stop fucking.
So for a battery, it's going to be a private person's arrest, okay? So we're not going to be arresting him. The way that it works is because it's a misdemeanor not committed in my presence. You're going to be signing that private person's arrest, and you're going to be the one going to court and testifying against him. To arrest him. So if you're not willing to go to court, there's really no...
Property damage and battery?
So battery is a misdemeanor. The property, if it's under $400, it's still a misdemeanor.
Is that LA County or is that all California?
It's all California.
That's the same.
Guys, the police are impotent in California. Let's just move. They can't do anything.
Very ambiguous.
It's Los Angeles police. They can't do anything about anything. Listen, actually, I had to walk up and stand between that guy and violently assaulting them because police can't do anything. You guys are impotent to actually do justice because the state of your culture is such that people run and do evil every minute of every day.
That's fine, but I'm trying to do my job, okay? And I'm explaining to you.
Yeah, you can't do your job. You've been given a sword to do justice, to protect innocent people, but you can't do it because of the state of the culture.
Immigrants have rights.
meanwhile,
Apart from the risk of their water being turned off, the most frustrating part for most residents is that this debt to the Kern County Water Agency accrued through no fault of their own. So the residents want to know.
For the customers who have paid their debts and they have abided by the rules, and for the mismanagement of the water district at that time who mismanaged the money, for us to be held liable for their mistake by us being red tagged, how is that legal? That's what I'm really struggling with mentally right now.
That's the reality.
About 600 homeowners in Diablo Grande have 1 month to protest a rate hike that would bring their water bills up to about $600 a month. The rate increase would be through Proposition 218, a California mandate where local governments can impose taxes or fees, but they need a majority voter approval. If the residents do not approve the rate increase, then Kern County Water Agency shuts off their water on July 1st.
What?
Then it becomes a health and safety issue if there's no running water to the homes. The County Office of Emergency Services will come in and red tag all 600 homes, forcing the residents to move out.
What?
Apart from the risk of their water being turned off, the most frustrating part for most residents is that this debt to the Kern County Water Agency accrued through no fault of their own.
Oh, hell no!
The Western Hills Water District has had meetings with local lawmakers and even the governor's office requesting emergency funding, but they say they've been told since the problem is strictly financial and not an infrastructure issue, there's no OES money the community qualifies for.
What?
meanwhile,
Immigrants have rights.
What?
Immigrants have rights.
So it looks like utility companies are responsible for starting most of the wildfires in California. And it looks like that was the case again in the recent Eden fires in LA. So guess what Gavin Newsom did when he became governor of California? He passes a law shielding utility companies from wildfire liability. And here is all of the tea.
We are now at 27 lives lost in those devastating wildfires.
We saw an apartment building engulfed in flames. I saw the fire engine pull up this afternoon, a fire captain have one of his firefighters attach a hose to a hydrant, and that hose didn't fill up.
The high school caught fire, homes burning on either side, and that fire over the last few hours just, I mean, look at the dust. It's dust right now.
Pacific Gas and Electric Company, PG&E, California's largest utility company, is responsible for igniting tens, if not hundreds, of fires. And in 2018, their neglected equipment sparked the Camp Fire, the deadliest wildfire in the state's history. 85 lives lost, the town of Paradise reduced to ash, and over 30,000 residents displaced. And what did Gavin Newsom do? Well, during his 2018 campaign for governor, Newsom took $208,000 in donations from PG&E. And when asked by reporters how he could possibly hold PG&E accountable given their financial support of his campaign, Newsom dismissed the question as, quote-unquote, strange.
PG&E was convicted of 6 federal felonies in 2016 after
after that, you took more than $200,000 to help get elected. How should people trust you to be running the show to come up with the solution?
I wish you luck with whatever you're working on, but that's a strange question.
Is it that strange of a question? And when pressed on whether he would return the money, he said unequivocally, no.
Have you reconsidered giving the money back to PG&E that they contributed to your campaign?
No, my actions, the suggestion is somehow contributions have changed actions. Look what I just passed, look what I just signed.
Newsom was referring to AB 1054, a bill he signed into law in 2019 that looked like he was holding PG&E accountable, but in reality, the bill gave PG&E everything they wanted. The legislation introduced what they call safety certificates, except these safety certificates didn't actually require utility companies like PG&E to make their equipment safer, only to have a plan to make it safer. The law also allowed PG&E to tap into a $21 billion state insurance fund, half paid for by taxpayers, while shielding the company's shareholders from liability for fires their negligence caused. You see, he's clever, because on the surface, it appeared that he's introduced an additional safety mechanism here in these safety certificates. But in reality, he's actually making things easier for the utility companies. Former members of the California Public Utilities Commission, the body responsible for granting these safety certificates, have alleged that Newsom's administration pressured them to rubber stamp approvals. One commissioner revealed that the decisions were micromanaged by Newsom's office, with clear signals to greenlight certifications regardless of the utility's actual safety improvements.
Governor Newsom's office was micromanaging the PUC?
Yes. Yes. Anything that we sent out, anything that we produced publicly, had to go through the governor's office.
As for the victims of PG&E's negligence, Newsom worked a deal where they would be paid in part with PG&E stock instead of a cash restitution. Predictably, the stock plummeted, leaving them billions short of what they were owed. Meanwhile, PG&E's creditors, including clients of Newsom's close friend and lobbyist Jason Kinney, were paid in full. And if the name Jason Kinney sounds familiar, it should. He was the host of Newsom's now infamous French Laundry dinner during the pandemic. If you remember, while Californians were under strict COVID lockdowns, Newsom dined maskless at a $350 a plate restaurant with Kinney, a PG&E lobbyist. That's Gavin Newsom in a nutshell.
He is going to overlook the basics of what we need in our state to cover for whoever he has made a deal with, and we are going to be sacrificed for that.
Governor, PG&E on its most recent earnings call said that it was going to go back to paying a dividend later this year. Meantime, the 70,000 wildfire victims are still waiting on their payments. They're being told not to expect to be paid in full. I'm curious to know whether you think that's fair and why, but more importantly, after your administration said that the state should ensure fire victims are treated fairly and fully compensated, is there anything, what do you plan to do to try to get those victims to 100% of what they're owed?
Well, we're here talking about the pending looming fire that's in front of us, and I appreciate the question on PG&E. That's well-established territory in terms of the comments we've made and the work we did collectively, not only as administration in partnership with the legislature. I don't know about the dividends call at PG&E, and I'll have to get back to you on that.
Why is it fair that they pay their shareholders but not their victims?
I'm sorry.
He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care. You see it on his face. When you bring it up, he's like, oh, God, this again. And how many people in California have been affected by this?
This is a disgrace.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God, stop fucking lying.
This is an outrage, what we have allowed to happen in this country.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I'll be signing a bill, the first in the nation, saying enough. To ICE, unmask. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of?
The Democrats have been advocating doxing and violence against these officers, and these officers have received violence. They've also been doxed. Their families have been doxed. And when they show up, you know that they're wearing vests that say police, that says ICE. They have their badges displayed, but they're not displaying their faces, because that's what the the left and the radicals are trying to get at and attack these guys. So for their safety, then yeah, I think they do. It's okay to wear the mask, especially since they're wearing the identification showing that they are working as a police agent, either for the federal government or the state or local government.
You're going to go out and you're going to do enforcement, provide an ID. Tell us which agency you represent.
Trump administration officials say the masks help keep agents safe as they do their jobs. DHS says there's been a 1,000% increase in assaults against ICE agents. And then there's the question of whether Newsom's ban will survive legal muster. DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin says on X, good news for Americans and public safety. ICE and DHS law enforcement are part of the federal government. We don't need to abide by this garbage. The acting U.S. attorney for Central California says something to the same extent. He says the state has no jurisdiction over the federal government and that it must go through Congress to regulate agents. So he says Newsom's new law won't have an effect on the administration's operations.
It's the motherfucking DJ.
So Gavin Newsom asked, what are you afraid of? Well, I'll tell you what they're afraid of. They're afraid of dying.
Yeah.
They're afraid of being doxxed. They're afraid of their families also being in danger. I remember interviewing Border Patrol spouses who said how afraid they were on the border. Imagine being an ICE, with the cartels and other people, going after them. Imagine being ICE, you don't have a mask, they find out through facial recognition who you are, and they come after you because it's not necessarily even the illegal immigrants. It's these radical groups that are paid for by God knows who are violent. Look at that, Antifa and other radical leftist groups. That is what they are afraid of. And by the way, Karen Bass, the mayor of LA, I mean, the gall of this woman after she allowed her city to burn, didn't prepare for fires, and now she's fighting law enforcement, taking criminals off her streets.
Yeah. To your point, Rachel, it's so important to point out in the remarks that Bass made, and Maddie didn't play that soundbite, but there was one line that stood out. She said that the federal government wants to normalize the, quote, hunting of Latinos. She is trying to create a narrative that does not exist out there.
That's
and
a dangerous narrative.
The attorney out there in California, Bill Saley, is trying to support his law enforcement officers. But that number, by the way, of 1,000% increase in assaults, that number is way higher. I've talked to the acting director of ICE, Todd Lyons. He says it's way higher, but yet it isn't stopping his men and women from going out every day in these sanctuary cities like California, New York, Massachusetts, Illinois, and trying to remove who? Not innocent people, not people that have a right to be here, but violent, criminal, illegal aliens. And the phrase of hunting Latinos, the federal government's trying to normalize it, is just simply inaccurate.
So, I'm deeply uncomfortable with the idea of police officers wearing face masks. But this is, of course, a foreign invasion, which puts it in a completely different category. And everything they have done is exacerbating the situation and making it worse. The reason that these ICE agents have to do it is because of exactly that kind of rhetoric. Yes. And it endangers their lives, and their families are getting doxxed because of what Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass.
Did you notice that the guys on top of the car are wearing like scarves around their faces, and so they're covered up?
Just to your point about the mask, and I understand your sentiment, Charlie, but let me just also say, and I've been on these raids. I was in the first few days of Midway Blitz in Chicago. Every ICE officer and law enforcement that I've been out with and seen in any of these arrests, they are covering their faces because there is a nationwide coordinated effort to dox them, as Rachel said, but yet they are identifiable because you see on their chest, ICE, HSI. They're identifying themselves when they go and do these arrests.
It's a good point. It's a really good point, Chris.
Provide us basic information that all local law enforcement is required to provide. Have the decency not to threaten people as they go to school.
Venezuelan gang activity across the city. Police believe some gang members are recruiting children living in migrant shelters. As Jennifer Bisram reports, the gang has blended in with asylum seekers who began arriving here in 2022.
Once they commit their crimes,
they go back to the migrant community where they assimilate themselves with people that are actually here obeying the laws.
The NYPD is cracking down on Tren de Aragua, the Venezuelan gang they say is living in the shelter system and recruiting children.
We have 39 members of TDA that have been identified, and we have an additional 4 members that have been identified of a subgroup called the Little Devils of 42nd Street.
42nd Street.
Yeah, those are much younger kids.
And those are just the members police have been able to identify.
We have no fingerprints on file for them. We have no photographs on file for them. We have no prior criminal history on them. They swap out their IDs. We have no way of tracking or knowing who they are when they enter the country.
The NYPD's chief of detectives says undocumented criminals as young as 11 years old are carrying out retail robberies and committing crimes on scooters, snatching people's jewelry, watches, and cell phones at gunpoint and knife point. Over 300 incidents last year, more than 800 so far this year. They've brazenly shot at police officers too.
When we do make arrests and we're able to charge them on 4, 5, 6 incidents, when they go before a judge in New York City and their arrest record is run, they show no prior criminal history. They're released on their own recognizance, they're not offered bail, and they're released back into the public.
Some migrant mothers we spoke to say they fear their boys will be forced into the world of crime.
People have warned us to be careful with the child because they are recruiting younger children. It worries me a lot.
Arada Piera and her 11-year-old son Dylan live in a Manhattan migrant shelter. They arrived from Colombia last year. When she's not volunteering at Metro Baptist Church, she's with her son, warning him of the dangers of gangs.
We're afraid he will get recruited and they will force and manipulate him to do bad things, things that will get him into trouble.
Power Malou, co-founder of Resources, Opportunities, Connections, and Community, is trying to keep migrant kids off the street by creating youth programs, including a soccer club.
I absolutely know that the soccer program is important for the kids to be able to get involved with something where they feel like they belong and they're having fun as kids, being able to support each other, build community, and stay away from the streets and be able to not have to get into the violence and get into the gang activity.
Over 60 kids ages 5 to 14 have been enrolled so far, including Dylan.
It's fun because we get to eat pizza and I have so many friends and we play.
He says he wants no part of the gang life.
I don't want to be like them. I don't want to be bad. I want to be good, helping the people.
Malou says more resources and spaces are needed to help the nearly 22,000 migrant kids in city shelters. That's 38% of the migrant population currently in the system.
The newest New Yorkers are coming here and they don't have any programs for them. So then they're looking to do something. They're looking for something to do. So they're easy targets.
In the meantime, the NYPD is working with its federal partners to curb the growth of the gang violence sprouting at some migrant shelters, spilling onto city streets, and in some cases, detectives say, even among migrant families who are also becoming targets.
What we're also seeing is that the majority of the migrant community sometimes themselves are the victims of crimes. They're preyed upon by these gangs. And there's a reluctance to report it sometimes because they feel that that might get them deported or that might get them in trouble with the police.
And police say they're also seeing the Venezuelan gang recruit migrants who are here from other countries as well.
What? Everybody walks the same sidewalk of hope and opportunity to our schools.
Harrowing sight in Southern California as the body of a murdered 13-year-old boy is found dumped along the side of a road. His name was Oscar Omar Hernandez, and police say he was killed by his youth soccer coach, 43-year-old Mario Edgardo Garcia Aquino. Multiple law enforcement sources tell Fox News he is an illegal alien from El Salvador.
Why did he have to kill him? The pain of losing a child is so great, I would never wish it on anyone.
Police say on March 28th, Hernandez took a train to see Garcia Aquino, but never returned. His family reported him missing 2 days later, and his body was found 5 days after that. The Los Angeles County District Attorney announced murder charges against Garcia Aquino Monday, with a special allegation of murder during the commission of lewd acts with a child, making him eligible for the death penalty.
That is why we are so appreciative of community partners like Carecen and Chirla.
A bill like this really shouldn't be necessary.
No.
We're calling it the No Tax Dollars for Riots Act. Some people like to give clever names to their bills. Actually, very straightforward.
Yes.
We shouldn't be spending tax dollars on riots. And you know, everyone in America saw these horrifying scenes in LA. cars being lit on fire, officers being assaulted, commercial dumpsters being used as battering rams. But what people didn't see is the role of this nonprofit in making that all happen. They ran this hotline through Signal where they would look at where ICE was at any given moment, and then they would tell the rioters there they are so they could go and impede their activities and commit these acts of violence. And so I'm on the House Judiciary Committee. We're investigating their use of federal funds for this sort of criminal activity. They also received, as you mentioned, $34 million in state funds, which, by the way, is most of their funding. They're effectively a government subsidiary at this point. So what my bill does, it's very simple. It says this should not happen. If you're a group that participates, carries out riots, you shouldn't be getting any federal funding, and you should lose your tax-exempt status.
For they stand up, they speak up, and they stand with our students, walk with our families to ensure they get to school. But unfortunately, there has been a consequence. Fear is pervasive and deep. Fear, deep fear. Some children have been yanked from our streets, others handcuffed simply because they looked Latino. A 15-year-old handcuffed outside our Lita High School based on presumably mistaken identity. A child with disabilities with a difficulty in communicating. Shameful that as the federal agents were leaving, they told this 15-year-old boy that at least he would have something exciting to tell his colleagues when the new year began. Nothing exciting about being handcuffed when you're 15 years old or any age. Or another student who was apprehended while walking his dog on a Saturday morning and quickly shipped to Texas before being returned.
The videos are hard to watch. The teenage victim's mother tells us that 5 to 7 Hispanic teens beat, stumped, and stabbed her 16-year-old son at Dockweiler Beach.
When the doctor came to, soon as we walked through the door, they was like, we didn't know if your son was gonna live, and I just started crying. And I just went over there and held my son's head and told him, Mommy's not going anywhere.
Fortunately, the Hawthorne teen survived after several tense days in the ICU.
He had a punctured lung, concussion. They had to put a tube through his chest to suck all the blood out.
The mother says that on Saturday night on February 10th, her son had gone to see some friends at a party that had been promoted on social media.
My son was helping a friend. He helped a friend get her up off the ground, and then the guy just asked him to stop, and then my son wanted to help his friend, and then the guy asked him did he want to fight, and my son didn't want to fight him.
She says others then joined in stabbing him 3 times and leaving him with a concussion as they shouted racist and gay slurs. She tells us she considers this to be a hate crime, and based on the references the attackers made about a gang, she thinks this may have been a gang initiation.
They were just calling him all type of names, and they were just kicking him all in his head, in his face, stabbing him.
She tells us videos of the attack have been circulating in Hawthorne high schools and at schools in nearby communities. She believes the suspects go to these schools and now wants to move out of the area to protect her son.
I'm still lost for words knowing that somebody did this to him, and they could still be out there looking for him.
Well, the LAPD tells us that they are aware of these videos and the attack and say the investigation is ongoing. Now, a GoFundMe page has been set up to help out with medical and moving costs. You can find a link to it on our website, KTLA.com. For now, reporting live here near Dockweiler Beach, Mary Beth McDade. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
That is why we established the Compassion Fund to provide legal support to our students and their families. We are one in Los Angeles Unified. My last point is, despite these injustices, despite the fear, despite the pressures, despite the unbearable lack of humanity, our kids are soaring.
Wow. Oh my God. Oh. Oh. Oh my God.
And for the second year in a row, these students, these children of immigrants and native-born parents alike have provided best-in-class achievement across all grade levels, all disciplines. They have improved, all subgroups they have improved. In fact, meeting and exceeding pre-pandemic levels.
I'm here testifying today as a proud Latino, but most importantly, I'm here as an American citizen. This is my country, this is my home, this is where I grew up in. And that is why the rhetoric coming from one side of the aisle about these operations saying, no, we got to keep our cheap labor so that we can maintain our standard of living, proves that they want to view Latinos simply as a underclass to siphon votes from, and fearmonger from every time that there's an election. They're content with keeping us as that servant underclass, and that is why it is disgusting to see them criticize that recent raid in Ventura County where they found unaccompanied minors working alongside convicted sex offenders at a cannabis farm. No, we got to keep them there because or else how else are we going to get high if we can't have unaccompanied minors harvest our weed? It's quite frankly despicable.
This is a first look at the suspected serial rapist, 39-year-old Eduardo Sarabia. Investigators say he's a transient and illegal immigrant from Mexico, now locked up with no bail. LASD investigators strongly believe the 2 rapes he's charged with are not the only ones. Sarabia is formally charged with 2 felony counts of sexual assault for forcible rape of a woman just a few days ago on Sunday, May 12th, and a 26-year-old woman on Monday the 13th. 2 heroic deputies caught him in the act inside a white van in the San Gabriel Mountains and arrested him yesterday. There are a lot of very disturbing and heartbreaking details surrounding these 2 incidents that sound straight out of a horror movie, but we can't release them yet without jeopardizing LASD's case. This is a look at that, quote, rape dungeon on wheels, a van they say disgustingly outfitted for rape. It's a 2015 Ford Transit van, essentially a mobile cage with no windows in the back. Now a crime scene on wheels filled with evidence and under 24-hour surveillance in the LASD San Dimas parking lot. And this is where Sarabia would take his victims at night, a dark, scary, remote location in the Angeles National Forest with no chance of a cell signal. It's up Highway 39 in Azusa Canyon at mile marker 21 in a pitch black dirt turnout. It's frankly a miracle that the deputies even found the van described from the first rape victim in the remote area of the mountains where LASD is drastically understaffed and people who do live in the area are begging for more law enforcement officers to help patrol it and keep them safe.
So now it is my great pleasure to introduce our one and only my dear friend and leader, the mayor of the city of Los Angeles, the Honorable Mayor Karen Bass.
Thank you very much, Superintendent. I think it is so appropriate that we stand here today, at the Miguel Contreras Elementary School. Because Miguel Contreras was a social justice leader of our generation, a leader who brought together labor, a leader who always fought for the rights,
including this girl, on a federal database. But that database is well known to be abused in an industry that can struggle to find workers.
But the fact that we need bills to protect people's rights of privacy from information sharing.
One of the things that has been consistent, especially with what I've said every time I've had the opportunity to speak about the brave men and women of ICE, is the fact that if you look before January 20th and even after January 20th, the men and women of ICE did not have to have masks on their face. Me personally, I don't want those officers having to wear those masks because it's hot, it's dangerous, but you look at what's going on right now. ICE agents are being doxxed at a horrible rate. You know, over the weekend we had ICE officers' names, addresses, families, Instagrams, Facebook posted and spread all around the city of Portland saying no rest for ICE. And you're seeing it in Los Angeles. People are flagging where their hotels are. This weekend, instead of having peaceful protests at spots in Los Angeles, they had agents' cars rammed and surrounded in intersections. There has to be a point where we can work with elected officials to come up with ways to ensure that ICE is able to do their mission safely, and the men and women of ICE do not have to worry about political rhetoric or outside agitators affecting their jobs, families, their safety, things like that. It's time that, common sense needs to prevail in this, and ICE needs to be seen as the effective law enforcement tool it is. But we also need the help of elected officials. They need to help us not only do our job, but keep the men and women of ICE safe.
Yeah, so what?
For the congressman keeps saying they commit less crime than Americans, who cares? Every crime committed by an illegal alien, every child raped by an illegal alien, every public safety threat by an illegal alien could have been prevented because they're not supposed to be here. It doesn't matter who does more. These are preventable crimes if we secure the border. And the border is more secure now than it ever has been because I'm working with the greatest president of my lifetime who has illegal immigration down 97%. He did that in 3 weeks. President Biden could have done it. He couldn't do it in 4 years. President Dunn did in 3 weeks. We got a safer border. Because we got a safer border, 97% less people are coming. Less women are being raped. Less children are drowning in the river. Less Americans dying from fentanyl overdoses. Less sex trafficking of women and children. President Trump's saving lives, and they can't stand it because it's a political difference. It's not a realistic difference. It's about saving lives. That's what this country's about. Support law enforcement. Why is law enforcement all of a sudden? Tomhoman, we're the bad guys who we enforce the law, but the ones who break the law, the ones that rape children, they're the victims? Give me a break. And I'll wear this as a badge of honor. If I get to live in their heads rent-free every day, that's kind of cool, and I'm loving it, and I'm coming.
Well, Tom, everyone has to know, this is how you relax. Like, this is... This is your most relaxed, okay? Well, right now at this moment, because you're doing your job. You're a man on a mission. Tom, as always, thank you very much.
Masking of federal agents, if they are federal agents, protecting kids so that they can come to school. You heard the superintendent say how when school was ready to start, we had a press conference at another school to reassure parents that they would be safe in sending their kids to school.
Teens going on a wild rampage, ransacking a Southern California convenience store, taking whatever they can get their hands on. Can anything be done to stop these crimes? Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Suter is live in Lincoln Heights with a new video tonight. Leanne.
Mark, that's exactly what the owner of this gas station here wants to know. He says that takeover happened in just a matter of seconds and says there was nothing they could do as the store suddenly filled with thieves. A sudden burst of young thieves as 24 kids take over the Chevron station in Lincoln Heights.
Just ambushed the store and ransacked it pretty much.
Owner Jerry Salib says it happened in an instant. You can see the young boys grabbing boxes full of candy, as many chips as they could carry, even cases of beer. Salib says they got away with more than $1,200 worth of goods.
When it's a gang of them at 24, 25 people, it's like an organized crime type of situation, like those 25 kids could easily overpower my cashier. And
thankfully, the cashier wasn't injured. The drama erupting Thursday evening at Daly and Mission. You can see the thieves ride up on their bikes and scooters and run in. So many packing into the small store, they were running into each other in the chaos of their crime.
Targeted and organized, premeditated, organized. And it's, of course, they're gathering so many of them that I can't even stop just one kid, right? It's 24, 25 kids. So, it leaves me kind of helpless.
Salib says they've had minor theft before, but nothing like this. Adding to his frustration, he says the LAPD couldn't help.
They said there was nothing they can do about it. They said it's considered shoplifting, and shoplifting isn't something they can really go after.
Salib says given their tactics, he's sure the thieves have struck before. He's hoping they'll be held accountable before they commit another calculated crime.
There's other gas stations all within the area, and these type of things happen all the time, especially nowadays. So be ready and be cautious.
Salib is calling on city leaders to do more about these takeovers and smash and grab robberies that have been plaguing so many businesses.
All of this legislative resistance is to protect Angelenos from our own federal government. That is profound.
You have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because you have a very powerful emergency power, and you can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes. And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can. Well, yes, but you know that you will be able to go back soon.
Mr. President.
We think within a week.
That's a long time, a week. I'll be honest. To me, everyone's standing in front of their house. They want to go to work and they're not allowed to do it.
And the most important thing is for people to be safe.
They're safe. They're safe. You know what? They're not safe. They're not safe now. They're going to be much safer. A week is actually a long time, the way I look at it. I watched hundreds of people standing in front of their lots, and they're not allowed to go in. It's all burned. It's gone. It's done. Nothing's going to happen to it. It's not going to burn anymore. There's nothing to burn. There's almost nothing to burn. And they want to go in. The people are all over the place. They're standing, and they say, why aren't you going in? We're trying to get a permit. And the permit's going to take them, everybody said 18 months. You said 18 months. You said 18 months.
Last night.
And that was last night.
He can't
even see our homes right now. We are blocked from entering our streets. We can't even, this is our first time we saw our house, was yesterday.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today?
Because this reflects a moment in history that we will all remember. But what I'm so proud of in our city is that we have legislative resistance, we have resistance from local government and state government, and we have resistance on the streets. Because all of this together is a part of a new social movement that has now moved on to Chicago, to Memphis, to Washington, D.C., where unfortunately our federal government is trying to get us to normalize and accept military intervention and the hunting of Latinos that has been reaffirmed by the federal government. It is the hunting of Latinos in Los Angeles. It is the hunting of Haitians in Florida.
How can I vote for somebody who I don't feel like has my back? Or any parent who lost their child's back? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we supposed to do? You want me to vote for you? What are you gonna do for me? You say what you're gonna do, but when you get in office, do you really do what you said you're gonna do? I don't think so. Because this crime has been going on for decades, and it's getting sickening to watch parents on TV crying about the loss of their child. Like, it's hard when you have to bury someone that grew inside of you. I never thought the hurt would be this bad. It's like, I lost my mom and my dad. Oh, that was hard, but this was just way over. It's too much hurt.
I have my oldest son. The man that did this to Jared had a violent tendency. He was arrested before, violated probation. He went before immigration judges. Being given a voluntary deportation is not something that a person that has shown violent tendencies should be given. He should have been deported.
Not every illegal immigrant is a criminal, but there are lots of criminals who are, in fact, illegal immigrants. On November 16th, 2010, a young man named Joshua Wilkerson was beaten, tortured, and murdered. His body was thrown in a field, set on fire by Hermilo Morales, an illegal immigrant in the United States from Belize. Just a few months before the killing, Morales had been convicted of harassing his ex-girlfriend, but the authorities didn't ask about his illegal immigration status, and they did not deport him. Laura Wilkerson is Joshua's mother.
My son Josh was 18 years old. He was a senior in high school. I had 3 children, so he was the baby of our family. He'd never been in trouble. He loved the Lord, and he had a good relationship with Jesus. And he was just a good kid. You know, he was trying to find out what he wanted to do, but he had considered going to the Air Force.
So how exactly did this horrific murder occur?
Well, Joshua didn't come home from school one day. I was off work early at about 1 o'clock, and Joshua always answers my phone or text messages. So I text messaged him and said, hey, let me know where you are, and no text message back. And I don't know, mom's instinct or something said something's wrong. And so it really made me start, I don't know, my anxiety just ramped up. And I called his dad and said, look, there's something wrong. Josh isn't answering. You know, this is very unusual. Even though he was 18, he's just that kid. And so I happened to turn one way going home and looked over, and I saw his truck parked beside a dumpster behind a strip center. His dad called the police, and they came out there. The guy that killed him was in that parking lot, and he had Joshua's truck key in his pocket. They roped it off as a crime scene, and then they came and told us to go home, that they were taking his truck as a crime scene, and that they had a suspect in custody. And, you know, when you hear all this, your just mind's like, what? You know, none of it makes sense at the time.
And how did he know the killer?
He went to school with him. He was a classmate of his, and apparently Josh had given him a ride home a couple of times. The lady where the kid was living, he wasn't living with his parents. They had kicked him out of their house, and he was living with another classmate. And that lady got him to tell where he put Josh, and so he took the policeman and showed him where Joshua's body was.
What was the condition of Josh's body when they found it?
When they found Joshua, he was burned, tied up with rope, 13 loops around his neck that went through his back belt loop to his hands and feet, so that he could carry him over his shoulder like that. So he was bound like that way and burned. He kicked Joshua in the stomach so hard, and it sent Joshua's spleen into his spine, and it cut it in two. And then next he punched him in the face, and it broke all of Joshua's nose, his nasal cavities, and he then hit him in the head with the closet rod 3 or 4 times until it broke in pieces. And then once Josh was still trying to get up off the ground, he strangled him until he died. Then he took him and tied him up and put him over his shoulder and put him in the back seat of Joshua's truck. And he drove around town and bought $2 worth of gas and put him in a field and set him on fire.
So originally, what did they think the motive was as to why this happened?
They didn't really have one. You know, most cases do have a motive, and they really did not have one, other than he did it. The killer told them a lot of motives that were lies. And I found out after the motive was that he wanted Joshua's truck to scrap for some money.
And when did they find out that the murderer was in the country illegally?
I remember them telling me, you know, I said, where are his parents? Once they told me, you know, who is he and where are his parents? And they said to me, we can't ask him. And I said, what do you mean you can't ask him? And he said, well, you know, they're not in the country legally and we're not allowed to ask them. And so that's when I first understood about sanctuary cities and the policies that are, whether it was a written policy or just a verbal policy about you don't ask people where they're from. But
Have you had any communications with the killer at all?
I did. I went to see him after the trial. I had a lady who facilitated me being able to go see him, and we sat across the room at just a little coffee table, and I wanted to see who he was and what he was like, and I forgave him, and I told him that I forgive you 100% for what you did to Josh. I know Josh would want me to do that, and I'm called to do that. And I left that meeting 100 pounds lighter, knowing that I'm not forever connected to him, that his choices are his choices, and everybody suffered for him, including himself. You know, I wish he was out and Josh was alive, but you know, he wasted his life too.
All of us must stand together, and this is representative of our unity, because as Angelenos, we will never allow this to become normalized. We will always resist, and our city will continue to stand united.
Victoria, I do want to ask you about these new numbers out of Harris County, which includes Houston, where 1 in 10 inmates in the prison system are wanted by ICE, which means they're here illegally. When you hear those numbers, given the fact that what happened to your son, what do you think?
It makes me angry. It really does. And I don't want to feel angry. I don't want to feel bitter. All I want is justice for Ricardo. Because it's like I said before, I didn't ask to be mourning and grieving my son. Ricardo didn't ask to be murdered. And especially, period, whether you're illegal, whether you're not illegal. But definitely we have to do something about a cross and balance at the border. It's ridiculous. I get it. You're fleeing from a country that's full of poverty, full of violence, full of gang, you know, poor healthcare system. You know what? We have those issues here in Texas. We have those issues here in the United States. So what gives you the right to come and burden us more And mind you, I'm a Mexican American. My father's from the state of Guanajuato, so I get it. Not everybody that comes here is a bad person, but we do need to know who you are and what are your intentions. My baby, as you can see, his smile now is what keeps his mom going. And I will fight. He's not here to fight his fight, but I will. I will be Ricardo's voice to the very end.
No part of our city has cracked. No part of our city has acquiesced to this, because we will stand united, and I look forward to the day that we no longer have to protect ourselves and fight our own government.
How long is this going to take before they realize this is where we screwed up? Let's put the mayor needs to shut it down. Yeah, we need to shut the mayor down. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I'll let you say that. But.
I did say that, but I mean, I gotta say that she's just not. She's not an actor. She doesn't. I don't mean that as in show business. She doesn't act. She kind of reacts, and her reactions have not been great.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just.
Okay, we saw the effect of it with the fire.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
Can you back up, Appreciate it.
Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster? No apology for them? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
Yeah, it's just...
She had a mic in her face and was like my 4-year-old wouldn't answer a question, and you pretend you're hiding by looking the other way. That's not a hiding spot.
Right.
Answer.
Yeah.
Even if the answer is wrong.
It was a terrible moment.
A few terrible moments.
But it said everything.
It did.
She didn't say anything, but it said everything.
Urgently call for the immediate recall of Mayor Karen Bass due to her gross mismanagement and failure to effectively respond to the devastating 2020 fires. In the wake of these catastrophic fires, our city has been left in crisis. Water supplies have been severely strained. Billions of taxpayer dollars have been misallocated or left unaccounted for, and countless lives have been lost. Families have been displaced, homes destroyed, livelihoods shattered, yet Mayor Bass has been absent from the front lines, choosing to travel abroad while her constituents suffer. Despite the tireless efforts of her first responders, the city has been woefully unprepared to ensure the safety and well-being of its residents. Basic resources such as water and emergency services have been inadequate, and leadership has been nowhere to be found when it was needed most. We demand the immediate resignation of Mayor Karen Bass due to her failure to lead during this unprecedented crisis. It goes on. I'm signing a petition right now during the commercial break, and let's put a link on our website for it, because I think everybody, it's not only for residents about
a meeting. Bill Haley, he's the federal attorney general of California, and then the deputy attorney general of the United States. I had a meeting with them to discuss the fire aid scam. Shout out Sue Pasco from Circling the News, whose house also burned down, who did a lot of the research and has been helping make sure everything I talk about is grounded in her journalism. It was very eye-opening that this is not a conspiracy, and the FBI is deep in this investigation, and to the point where most of the stuff they couldn't even discuss with me to not affect future criminal charges. It's so real, though. The fire aid thing, victims, nobody got that money, the $100 million, is very real. It's not like a TikTok thing. It's not misinformation. Doesn't matter what the LA Times said in their little fake piece where they're like, we reached out to 150 of them and it all is legit and they gave gift cards. No, it's very real. The investigation's happening. Anything else I do maybe know, I couldn't say, but let's just say that was boom. Okay, because I thought they were gonna be like, yeah, what they're doing, they can do. No, it's money laundering.
Thank you very much.
Oh, hell no! And that he is standing
up for our immigrant communities. Please help me in welcoming the 40th governor of the great state of California, Governor Gavin Newsom.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Thank you. Well, thank you, all of you, all the speakers, everybody that took the time to be here, everyone that inspired this legislation, this call to push back, to meet this moment, and to be accountable.
Well, the immigration issue is tough. You got to secure our borders. We have to. And Democrats have failed on this as much as Republicans. To me, this is not a partisan issue. Got to secure the border. But I also believe you have to have a pathway to citizenship. People should learn the language, go in the back of the line. There should be that pathway. That's a difficult issue. How do you manifest that? Right. How does that work? Hold employers accountable. I'm an employer. I created over 1,000 jobs. Employers need to be part of this as well. But we need to rationalize this debate. We need to move away from this partisanship. Everyone's using this for political wedge.
And we'll hold you to your word.
Yes.
We'll replay this over and over when you get there.
Please do.
All right.
You should always hold us accountable.
Gavin Newsom's been promising to end homelessness for as long as he's been in politics, and he's a lifelong politician. As mayor of San Francisco, he's rolled out a Stalin-esque 10-year plan to get each resident a roof.
Housing solves homelessness. And if we're going to solve the problem of those that are out on the streets that we define as homeless, we better solve the housing problem if we're going to have an impact. And that's why we established this framework, what we call a 10-year plan to end chronic homelessness in San Francisco.
Bush was president when he said that.
Oh, hell no!
Bush. Gavin's been governor for 5 years. He spent $24 billion on the homeless, added 30,000 homeless, and can't tell us where the money went.
What?
Finally, he was confronted. Watch.
Is your administration doing enough to determine whether the money that's being plowed into homelessness is being well spent?
One of the vexing issues that was highlighted in the audit was local. And each city and county has different strategies and approaches. We've tried to level set that.
I'm sorry, Governor, I didn't hear responses to either of those questions. Do you acknowledge whether the money that the state isn't doing enough to ensure that the money is being well spent?
The audit did not surprise me. The state has advanced unprecedented investments, you're correct, and unprecedented interventions demanding more accountability with state money at the local level.
Where'd the $24 billion go? Don't look at me. I'm just the governor, but I knew we were going to lose it. That was his answer.
What?
Thank you so much, and we'll hold you to your word.
Yes.
We'll replay this over and over.
You should always hold us accountable.
You guys still having water problems?
Hey, here it is. It's cold again. Come here early in the morning. We see that the lady here has been here almost 2 weeks here at Skid Row, still living in a tent with her children. However, we know that's not acceptable. The lady is asking for help, begging for help to get out of Skid Row. This is what we face. The children out here. And it's no good to have the children living on Skid Row. So you look down here, you see some more children. However, we know that this is what we talk about in the court, about fixing the problem here at Skid Row. I come back out this morning, take a look at it, and ain't nothing changed. It's gotten worse. So with that, for now, I'm out until we do another episode of this homeless children and families here on Skid Row. With that, I'm out.
And the LA homeless grift continues. Last week, LAHSA, which stands for the LA Homeless Services Authority, released this presser claiming that declining homelessness is now a trend in Los Angeles. They say that according to the annual homeless count that they do, the numbers are going down. But then a few days later, watchdog journalist from LAist publishes this bombshell report saying that LAHSA moved hundreds out of LA city homeless count without informing elected officials. They write, quote, LA Homelessness Agency revised the locations of over 400 shelter people in its 2025 homeless count, moving them out of the city of LA in the days before the public release of the findings this week. The moves were made without informing elected officials who had seen the earlier numbers. And on top of that, the CEO of LAHSA, who I call Miss Big Pearls, is out there saying that budget cuts could jeopardize next year's homeless count. She's saying, quote, we anticipate that the current allocations will not provide enough funding for LAHSA to conduct an unsheltered count in 2026. Okay, so I pulled up the proposed 2025-26 budget for the city of LA. And in it, it says, the proposed budget provides LAHSA with $50.6 million, an increase in funding of $7.9 million from 24 to 25. So what the hell is she talking about? Okay, just so everybody knows, LA spends approximately almost $1 billion on homelessness every single year. And these are the results. This is what they're touting as a big success, which is an infinitesimal decrease in the number if we were to just take them at their word. To me, all this suggests is that they don't really care about solving the problem, they just want more money.
And we'll hold you to your word.
Yes.
We'll replay this over and over
You should
when you
replay it.
get there.
Please do.
All right.
You should always hold us accountable.
Thank you so much, and we'll hold you to your word.
Yes.
We'll replay this over and over.
You should always hold us accountable.
Just met with a great team of criminal investigators here at the IRS. If you asked Fire Aid for any money, you emailed them, please send me all your correspondence. If you bought tickets, merchandise, or donated to Fire Aid and you have the receipt, please email that evidence to info@prattdaddy.com. I repeat, if you are a fire victim in Altadena, Civic Palisades, Pasadena, Malibu, any fire victims, and you reached out to Fire Aid, please send me those correspondence and then the correspondence of whoever Fire Aid told you to email. Thank you so much. Look forward to closing this case.
And we'll hold you to your word.
Yes.
We'll replay this over and over
You should
when
replay
you
it.
get there.
Please do.
All right.
You should always hold us accountable.
Thank you so much, and we'll hold you to your word.
Yes.
We'll replay this over and over.
You should always hold us accountable.
And really the spirit, I think, of these 5 bills that I'll be signing here in a moment are about accountability. Accountability that is long overdue.
On the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" catch!
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core.
Hey, let me shut down the city! We are at war!
We're in a war right now.
We are at war.
So you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
And that's why the gloves are off.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
And yes, there are many threats to democracy. We see it with these extreme candidates.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
You can only push people so far, and then they start to take matters into their own hands.
What the American public want is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight.
You know, this is literally call to arms.
The MAGA movement is a threat.
Michelle says that, when they go low, we go high. No.
With all due respect, if they go low, we don't go high.
When they go low, we kick them.
We take them to the mud and choke them out.
And make sure that they stay down. And you know what? Kick them when they're down, because they deserve it.
Get up in the face of some Congress people.
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your...
We have to fight this in the streets.
We're going to fight it in the streets. It's time to step out of your comfort zone and step out into the streets.
To our Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist! You and your little friend off of Twitter. Y'all about to find out.
And if you see anybody
from that cabinet, in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station. You get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
He's not going to have a third term. He may not finish this term.
Yes, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
But when did you accept Christ?
5th grade at Christian Heritage Academy.
What
I remember. I heard a hot gospel, and I heard what happens if you don't give your life to Jesus. And it's very important that when we share the gospel, the modern gospel is, God has this beautiful, amazing, wonderful life for you, and if you give your life to Christ, your life will infinitely improve. That is somewhat true, but it's very misleading, because you're basically trying to sell people in Christianity of a life without difficulty, where the better way to teach the gospel is, here's the 10 Commandments, how many of these are you violating? Oh, you deserve to go to hell. And you probably will, unless you give your life to Christ. That is the proper way to evangelize. And so I realized the stakes. In 5th grade, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm a sinner, I'm selfish, I'm broken, and only thanks to Jesus' perfect sacrifice, coming and living a perfect life, that I get something I do not earn, but has been given to me, this free gift of eternal life. I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life.
But if you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.